If someone asked you who the richest person in history was, what name would come to mind? Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos? Rockefeller? All impressive fortunes, all dwarfed by one legendary king whose wealth was so vast that even modern economists struggle to measure it. A ruler whose spending changed the value of gold across continents, and whose empire once held half of the known world's gold. This is the true financial story of Mansa Musa, the West African emperor whose wealth reached heights the modern world has never seen again. A story of gold, religion, global trade, power, and a rise so extraordinary that it still shapes the economic history of Africa. Welcome to Financial History Uncovered. Today we reveal how Mansa Musa built the Mali Empire into one of the most prosperous civilizations the world has ever known, and what happened to that wealth after he was gone. To uncover this financial history, we travel back to the 14th century. Europe is emerging from the Middle Ages. Merchant ships trade across the Mediterranean. The Islamic world is thriving as a hub of learning, scholarship, and commerce. And far beyond the deserts of the Sahara, an empire rises along the life-giving Niger River. The Mali Empire, rich in culture, rich in land, and rich in gold. Into this empire, around the year 1280, a boy is born who will become Musa Keita Basir. History will remember him by a grander name, Mansa Musa, meaning King of Kings. His reign begins in 1312 CE, and with it begins one of the most astonishing economic stories in human history. Before Mansa Musa ascended to the throne, Mali was already a rising financial force. It controlled several of West Africa's richest gold mines. In fact, for centuries, historians have estimated that Mali and its predecessor, the Ghana Empire, were responsible for more than half of the world's gold supply during the Middle Ages. Not metaphorically, literally. Half of all known gold came from this region. Gold was the ultimate global currency. It powered the economy of North Africa. It shaped the wealth of Europe. It was prized across the Middle East. Mali sat perfectly positioned between these worlds. Caravans crossed the Sahara loaded with salt, textiles, copper, and luxury goods, and they returned north weighed down with West African gold. Mansa Musa inherited this booming economic machine. He didn't build Mali's golden foundation. He turned it into an empire of unmatched financial power. How Mansa Musa built his wealth, strategy, expansion, and expertise. Mansa Musa understood a truth that modern economists preach. Wealth isn't only about resources. Wealth is about controlling the flow of trade. So Musa went to work. He expanded Mali's territory through diplomacy and conquest. He extended the empire over major gold-producing regions, including Bure and Bambouk. He secured trade choke points. Caravans moving from West Africa to North Africa paid tribute and taxes to Mali. Every merchant who crossed those borders contributed to the king's coffers. He built administrative and political structures. Appointed governors, generals, and trusted family members ensured that gold extraction and taxation remained efficient and profitable. He invested in stability and security. Trade can only flourish where merchants feel safe. Musa enforced laws and protected trade routes so goods could flow and profit could grow. By doing this, he wasn't just hoarding gold. He was building a financial superstructure that generated wealth continuously. Imagine a modern economy where one leader controls the mines, the marketplaces, the banks. And every border crossing, that was Mansa Musa's Mali. No billionaire today holds that kind of influence. In 1324, 12 years into his reign, Mansa Musa undertook a journey that would change his global legacy forever. The Hajj, a pilgrimage to Mecca, which every Muslim strives to make at least once in their life. What followed became the biggest financial flex in human history. Witnesses reported that Musa's caravan included thousands of soldiers and servants, 500 personal bodyguards, 100 camels, each carrying hundreds of pounds of gold. Musa gave gold away freely, to the poor, to merchants, to rulers, to cities he passed through. Generosity became instability. In Cairo, the sudden flood of gold triggered inflation. Prices rose, currencies destabilized. The ripple effects reportedly lasted more than a decade. Imagine one man traveling to New York today, donating so much money that the US dollar collapses. Musa wasn't just rich, he was economically seismic. The world had no choice but to take notice. Maps and documents from the era suddenly highlighted Mali. On the famous Catalan Atlas, Mansa Musa is drawn holding a massive gold orb, a visual symbol that Africa was not a land of mystery and jungle, but a powerhouse of global wealth. His pilgrimage turned a regional empire into an international marvel. Gold might build power. Knowledge sustains it. Mansa Musa returned from his Hajj with more than reputation. He brought back architects, scholars, poets, teachers, Islamic jurists. He turned Timbuktu into one of the most important centers of learning and trade in the world. He built the Jingareber Mosque, a marvel of Sahelian architecture, libraries holding hundreds of thousands of manuscripts, the legendary University of Sankoré, attracting scholars from across Africa and the Middle East. Education was investment. Musa transformed wealth into human capital, the foundation of lasting prosperity. Timbuktu became a name that traveled far, synonymous not with remoteness, but with intellect, commerce, and prestige. Mansa Musa's true net worth, myth versus reality. Modern media often quotes a number, $400 billion in today's money. That's more than Musk, Bezos, and Gates combined. Is it true? Possibly, but no number truly captures the scale. Here's why. Medieval wealth wasn't measured by personal bank accounts. Much of Musa's wealth was tied to state ownership of land and resources. His economic power was based on control, not cash alone. Still, historians agree. No individual human has ever controlled more wealth relative to the global economy. Not even close. Mansa Musa and the richest man in history remain inseparable. And that association is deserved. The empire after Musa. Wealth is power until power slips. Mansa Musa died around 1337, after approximately 25 years of rule. His successors inherited a prosperous empire, but not his brilliance in managing it. Trade routes shifted, new powers rose in West Africa. Internal struggles fractured unity. The global economy moved on. The gold was still in the earth, but the leadership to harness it was gone. By the time Europeans arrived centuries later, the memory of Mali's golden age had faded, surviving mostly in Arabic manuscripts and legends. The lesson is timeless. A massive fortune isn't just something you build. It's something a nation must continue to manage, or watch disappear. Mansa Musa's wealth didn't just finance palaces. It built cities, it built mosques. It built universities, it spread education across West Africa, and reshaped the cultural identity of a region. His influence uplifted an entire civilization. His pilgrimage connected Africa more deeply to the wider world. His empire stood as a challenge to European narratives that wealth and advancement were exclusive to the Mediterranean or the Middle East. Today, Mansa Musa represents economic power at a global scale, the importance of trade infrastructure, the role of education in long-term prosperity, the reminder that Africa was, and is, a land of innovation and wealth. So next time someone asks, who was the richest person who ever lived? Tell them the answer isn't a tech titan or a Wall Street giant. It's a West African emperor whose golden empire shaped world history. This is Financial History Uncovered. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more untold stories of money, power, and the people who changed our world.